lid, I guess, right?
Well,
or that was the foxhole one.
That was the foxhole one.
This Amateur Radio Roundtable is brought to you in part by ICOM America. Hello guys, welcome to Amateur Radio Roundtable. I'm Tom Medlin, W5KUB. Sorry about the Brady Bunch a while ago. We kind of put that on playing around and we forgot and left it on. So I know it sounded like a stuck record, but we're sorry. Hey, what's that deal? Living on a prayer, that song, or playing on a prayer, or flying? What is it? Man, we're working on a prayer tonight, guys. Katie's not here tonight with us. Martin had to leave the last minute. We got our guest on here. We're gonna have a great show, but we've had Skype issues and we're running just a tad late. But I think we're gonna make it. And I'm gonna figure this thing out. We got a brand new chat room tonight that people are logging into. I haven't even had a chance to check and see how the chat room is running. I hope everybody got in okay and there weren't any troubles. We've been having some problems, so tell us if you got in okay tonight or if you had problems. Amateur Radio Roundtable is on every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Central Time, and we're on W5KUB.com, but we're also simulcasting our show's audio on world-famous international station WBCQ out of Monticello, Maine, and that's on 5130 kilohertz. We'd like for you to join our Facebook group if you have not done it. We've got a Facebook group called W5KUB, and it has about 7,000 members in it now, and it pretty much gives you information about the show, who's going to be on it, what we're doing on the show, and it's also a good place to just post ham radio related material, ask questions, get answers, and so forth. Put your shack pictures on there and let Katie show your shack pictures on one of our Tuesday night shows. So I know I'm forgetting something. Let's see. I know. Number one, I have to say happy birthday to my wife Kathy tonight. Today's her birthday, so happy birthday, Kathy. And I'm also supposed to say something about happy Mardi Gras. Does Mardi Gras change? It seems a little late to me, but anyway, happy Mardi Gras too. We're going to be talking tonight with the master of the high altitude balloons, Bill Brown, WB8ELK. Bill's on here with us on the remote right now. We'll be talking about maybe the design and answer questions and talk about why we haven't launched it and so forth. So that should be fun here. Hey, I'm going to just jump around. I'm going to go out to Josh. Our only other co-host tonight is Josh on here. Let me see if I can get Josh in here, and we'll see how he's doing. So let me clear the screen here with everybody. All right, Josh, man, look at there, out in that California traffic, man. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm in my mobile ham shack here, monitoring 2-meter simplex and beaconing out APRS. If anybody wants to follow my travels here.
All right. Well, we need to put your position on our webpage on APRS so we can see how close you're getting to the shack on show night. But anyway,
yeah, I think I'm KI6NAZ-7 for those of you that are so inclined, or -10. Sorry, -10.
Okay. Now I'm looking at the scenery go by. It's not moving just real fast out there. What's the problem?
This is Tuesday. This would be Tuesday traffic. It's pretty much always like this when you get out a little bit later than I had planned. Normally for these live streams, I try and get out around 4, and I wasn't able to get out until around 5:15. So that will definitely add to the problems.
All right. Well, I think you're still a good 20 minutes or more out. So just stick with us if you can, and watch the traffic. We don't want you to have a bang up out there. So just be careful. And hey, if you want to jump in, just jump in with us. Okay.
I will. I'll be back in the shack shortly here. So.
All right.
Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, and hey guys, I'm sorry. I had something terrible. I got a cough drop right now. I've been on meds for like 4 weeks. I can't shake this stuff. So everybody on the remote out there, don't get too near the speaker. I don't want you to catch this. It's pretty bad, whatever it is. All right, so let's do this. Let's jump out to Idaho. Yeah, Idaho. And let me see if I can bring in Reagan here. Let me get the right button. There we go. Let me bring in Reagan. And I'm going to bring in somebody that Reagan knows also. Let's see if I can do this. There we go. That should work. Okay, guys, you may remember last week on the show, I mentioned that we had this 9-year-old extra class call in and check into the 40-meter net last week. And then, to our surprise, she called in the show last week and talked to us. And that's Reagan, and her call is KJ7BBN. Now, with her there is her brother, Stephen.
Hello.
And her brother is KJ7BNN. Is that right? Did I get that? Did I mess the call
Correct.
up already? Reagan is KJ7BBN, and Stephen is KJ7BNN. And the mom there, Lisa, is KJ7BBO. Now, that's almost a pretty good call, OPQ. Boy, if you'd got it 2 calls later, you would have had a great call there. You would have been KJ7 Barbecue. That would have been a cool call. So let's just talk a minute real quick here, and let's talk about Reagan and the youth out there, and the ham club, and the Elmering, and just all kinds of stuff. So Reagan, what got you interested in ham radio?
Well, what got me interested most is my mom just told me that my school was putting on a new event about ham radio and that I was welcome to attend if interested. And I did a bunch of fox hunts with Mr. Trouton, my teacher, and I also got on the air a little bit, and I figured out that ham radio was right for me.
Well, that is just great. Now, hey, I don't know if you can see this very well or not, but is that some of your other ham friends there in your club?
Yes, that's the ham radio club.
Man, you've got a pretty big club there. Now, how many there have their license already? Everybody, or just part of them?
Just me.
Oh, really?
My brother.
You're just standing out. You're going to be in Elmer one day, aren't you?
Yeah, I hope brother is too.
Maybe you can help to Elmer. Maybe you can help to Elmer some of them. I'm sure you're helping them. So let's see if we can get the screen wide enough and bring in and say hello to Stephen and your mother. There we go. Now I got all 3 of you in here. So hey, what's it like being 9 years old or so young and having the highest ham license there is? I mean, are you guys having fun yet?
I'm having a lot of fun, and I really like getting on the air because it gives me chances and opportunities to contact people I don't know in faraway places that I've never even imagined.
Well, I want to tell you something. I'm going to hook you up with another ham radio family, and they have children just about the same age groups as you guys, and they're homeschooled. You guys aren't homeschooled, are you?
No.
Okay. All right. You're going to the Mountain Home Air Force Base School, I think.
Yes, Stevenson Elementary.
Okay. Well, I'm going to hook you up with this other family. I'll send you an email. Their name is the Lees, Leas, the Lees family, and they've got children your age. They've got their extra license and really do a lot of things. They're very, very active. So we'll hook you up with that. So now all three of you, mother, you, your brother, you got your licenses now. Isn't that kind of making Dad feel bad? Does he not feel bad?
Yeah, I think it makes him feel a little bit left out. But when we get him licensed, we're gonna all be fighting for the radio.
Yeah, well, you're going to have to, you each will have to get your own radio, right?
Mm-hmm.
So let me ask you though, I mean, if you get what kind of radio would you want?
I would want the Yaesu 991A.
I've got a 991A. It's a nice little radio, and it'll also run mobile. It's small. Now, if you get that, you're going to have to get a car to put this equipment in.
Yeah.
Yeah. What kind of car would you get?
I'd probably use my mom's car.
No, you got to have your own car. You got to have a little independence, you know. And
Maybe one that's paid off.
Your brother's going to need a car too. So, Mom, you better start putting some money away. Okay.
Oh, my. I think I'm making
Okay.
So, hey, yeah, the 991 is a great radio, and I'm glad you got your extra license. Many people start off, of course, it's okay to start off with a tech license and in general and move up, and that's what you did, right? But you did it very quickly. Tell us the progress that you made from tech to extra.
Well, Mr. Troughton, he helped us with the instruction. He taught us in the ham radio club, and we all studied very hard and tried our very best, and I got licensed as my technician, and then I worked up with my mom to general, and then eventually to extra.
And how long did it take to go from tech to extra?
About 14
How long?
14 weeks.
14 weeks, not months, but weeks. 14 weeks. Wow. Well, that is a great story there. Now, let me bring in your one of your Elmers there. Let's bring in Mr. Troughton. Yeah, let's bring in Mr. Troughton in here with you guys, and let's talk with him a minute. This is Chris Troughton, AF7FQ. Did I get that right, Chris?
You did, Tom. Hello.
Yeah, and hey, I just have to say one thing. I'm talking to an Air Force family, and I understand that Chris here just retired from the Air Force, I guess. When was it? This week?
It wasn't just. It was 2014.
Oh,
so
okay, okay. Man, you look too young to be retired from the Air Force at that age. So, Chris, tell us a little about you and ham radio and how you started this club.
Well, I got started in radio myself about 5 years ago. A friend of mine asked me to come and take a technician class, and I did. And through their encouragement to study, I ended up sweeping my tech general and extra all in one test session. So it was a great fit for me. I guess I've got a good head for the technical information. And I told him in my technician class before I ever got my ticket that my goal, now I was active duty at the time, I said that my goal was to retire, go to college to become a school teacher, and start a ham club in my local school district. And that's exactly what I did. My students last year kind of pressed this into happening before I was really ready for it. The club has just really outpaced me, and it's outgrown my ability to manage it. So thankfully, I've had Lisa there to help out with me this year.
Well, great. And here's some of your, I guess we call them your students.
Yep.
Yeah. And do
I've
they?
Got 13 students that are involved with the club this year. Last year, we were a lot bigger. We were 26 students. That was way more than I could manage, so I had to pare things back this year.
Okay. Well, that looks like a very energetic bunch there. And I know you have some radios there that I guess are on loan for your club station, and you guys operate regularly, right?
We are on the air about 3 times a week. I usually do 2 lunchtime sessions, one on Tuesday and one on Thursday. We like to work on 20 and 40 meters right now because those are the bands that are doing the best for us during the day. And we usually jump on at about noon, and that'd be Mountain Time. That's our local time here. So we're on from 12 to about 12:30 on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And then we're also on Wednesday afternoons at 3 o'clock Mountain Time. We usually turn the radios on somewhere between 3:15 and 3:30, and we work a little bit of HF in the afternoons also.
Well, I'll have to listen for you guys now that I've got the times there. So let me ask Reagan here. Reagan, can you tell me what kind of antenna that is? You know what that antenna is?
No. Is it an inverted V?
Okay.
No, that's the one I have.
Well, to me, it looks like probably a 3-band fan dipole, I'm guessing. Okay. So, do you guys build projects? It looks like here's a tape measure antenna. Do y'all do things like that?
Yes, that's a Yagi antenna where we do a ham radio club after school on Wednesday, and we made the Yagi antennas, and now we can use them to talk to people and satellites in the sky.
Okay. Well, that's great. And guess what? The International Space Station is becoming much more active now. And let me just mention that you can work the astronauts now on the space station. Here's astronaut Doug Wheelock, a friend of mine that he's going to be with us at Dayton again this year. But I talked to him in the space station many, many times. In fact, it doesn't take much. I talked to him 3 times driving home in the car. What do you think about that?
That's cool.
So, you ought to be thinking about trying to work the International Space Station. They've got some hams up there that are very active now, and that's just real exciting when you talk to them. I'm trying to get back into satellite myself. I kind of got off of it for a number of years, but that's kind of cool. So, what do you got at home right now that you guys are using at home? Tell us about your setup.
We've got a Yaesu 857 and also a Yaesu 747, which I named Betsy.
What do you name it, Betsy?
Yeah, the Yaesu 747 I named Betsy.
Okay. Wow. And why do you name your radio Betsy?
Because that's the name of my mom's car.
Ah, okay, very good. Well, someday, take care. Betsy might be yours, So, who's the most active there? You or Stephen or your mom?
Definitely me, but mom comes second. Stephen comes third. I like to lay low.
All right. Well, how we're going to get Mom and how we're going to get Stephen. Stephen, stick your head over there. I want you to peek around so I can see you. There you go. Stephen, how come you're not active? What's going on? What? You're more interested in girls? Is that what you said? No, I'm sorry. I misheard you. I'm sorry.
Student council, huh?
Yeah, it's been kind of tough to try and upgrade due to lots of complicated stuff happening every so often.
Well, you're part of student council.
And also part of student council as well.
Okay, well good. So let me jump back over to Chris there. Chris, it's just great what you're doing for this ham radio club in there in Idaho, and I guess you're going to continue it, right? It looks like it's kind of limited to about the same age group. Is that any reason, or is that just the people that want to be in the class, or how's that work out?
Well, right now I teach at the elementary school on the air base, and the rest of the local public does not have access to our facility because it's on the air base. That requires military ID to get on. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to propagate the club into at least one or two of our other schools in the district downtown, so that, number one, Reagan has a place to go to next year, when she leaves our school, and that so that other students in the district will have the same opportunity. It's just kind of a shame that we can't open it up to everybody, but that's the way things are for right now.
Yeah, and I can understand that. You know, back years ago, air bases were pretty open. Anybody could get on them, man. Just drive right on and visit and look around, but no more. Well, guys, hey, let's see. Let's go back to, let me bring up Reagan's homepage, and let's talk about it just a minute, Reagan, and see if there's anything you want to tell us about your homepage here. So there's a picture of you and your Elmer, and what are those certificates you've got there?
One of them is my certificate for getting technician. One of them is a certificate for getting general.
Oh, cool there. And I can see you joined the resistance there. Yeah. Now, who are these guys right here?
That's my administering VEs with taking a picture with me when I got my extra.
All right. Now, I guess do all the VEs now? I'm not a VE. Do VEs now have to be an extra class?
I'm not sure.
I can answer that. In order to administer a general or an extra exam, you have to be an extra class VE.
Okay.
A general VE can administer a technician class test.
Okay, I thought so. Reagan, I guess they've got license as high as you, or are you the highest?
They probably got it as high as
They're
me.
equal to you, huh? Okay, very good. Equal to you. You were the first student in the elementary school amateur radio club here to get your license. Cool. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Tell us about this. Ham radio.
That's when I contacted the Ham Radio University on the radio. They only do it once a year, and
Okay.
they're in New York.
Okay, I got you.
That's me, my brother, and Mr. Wayne, W7HWM.
Okay,
And
cool.
What did he do?
he has a
gave you?
he gave me the Diamond X antenna, the inverted V that I have.
That is so nice. That's nice. You know, a lot of hams help other hams, and they pay it back. You know, people help them out, and then they help others out. And here you are. I'm not sure, but I see some antennas back there.
That's me with NH6Y and his giant antennas in the background. That green little house is his ham shack. It's really cool inside. He has a lot of computers and radios.
That looks like a big ham shack. Big ham shack. Is that inside there?
Yes.
Yeah. Cool. I bet you learn a lot from people visiting people like this. There you are.
Yeah.
Looks like you're operating.
That's me when I was checking into a local net with a headset that I told Mom I have to get.
You've got to get one. Okay. All right.
I also did a moon bounce with Tom. It was to New Zealand.
You did a moon bounce contact to New Zealand.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been a ham 54 years. I've never done a moon bounce. Wow. I want to. We're going to try to do one this year on the show, and we'll have you come on and talk about it.
That's Penny and Walt and me and Mr. Troughton and Merlinda and Art. And those are my local hams that help me.
Oh, look at that. Look at this old radio to the left of you there. This is what we used to use back when I got my license.
Yeah, that's me calling on the radio
Yeah.
with Walt's radio. He let me
Yeah.
use it.
All right.
That's
Your very
me.
first
That was me with my very first QSL card with a very special license plate.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. I had a question. Let's see. I forget what it was now, but it was going to be with Chris there talking about the club, and I forget what it was there. So what do you guys? What have we not covered tonight that you'd like to talk about? Oh, I know what the question was. Do you have any of your students watching the show tonight?
I'm not sure how many of them might be watching this evening. I did send the invitation out to almost 700 people
Wow.
via a web program that we use for communicating with our school, with our parents. It's called Class Dojo. And so I did send a dojo message out to over 600 parents and all of our staff. So hopefully the parents got their kids on tonight to at least watch for a few minutes, and I hope to have the staff in here. At least a couple of them would be nice.
Yeah, and you know, this program is recorded, so you guys will all be able to pull it up at any time and watch it if people miss it. Let's ask the people in the chat room, if you're if you're one of the people that Chris sent the email out to, or the message out to, and you're new in the chat room, just tell us your name and that you're new or you're visiting tonight. We'd love to hear from you. Since this might be their first night, they might have a little difficulty logging into chat room or understanding, but maybe they're in there. So tell us if you came in to see Chris and Reagan and everybody from Idaho tonight. There's a KC7 NIY from Mountain Home checking in.
Well, hello, Chuck. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, so I see one of them there, and let's see, it's hard to read while I'm actually talking to people. Well, okay, well, hey guys, thank you so much for coming on here, and we really enjoyed talking to you. Hey, Josh, are you still with us out there, or did Josh is in his shack now? Let's see what Josh has to say about this.
Hey, I think I'm back. Can you
Yeah,
hear me okay?
you're there. You're there.
Excellent.
We'll bring Josh down here.
I just got back. I'm back in front of the green screen. I haven't turned that on yet. I'm going to do that all the moments of just getting back to my seat. I got to listen to you guys talk. That was amazing. I wanted to ask, sounds like you have a couple classes and then you do like an after-school club. And I saw the Yagi, the tape measure antenna. What other projects do you guys do that are fun ham radio projects that have been really engaging and interesting?
Should I leave that there? Yeah, go ahead, Reagan.
Let's see, we've made crystal radios. I can show you one. I can go get it.
Hey,
cool.
Did the crystal radio work?
Yes, it did.
I'm gonna tell you a story. It'll take 30 seconds. Martin Jew, and you don't know Martin, but I'm sure Chris might. Martin F. Jew is not with us tonight, but he is the founder of MFJ. And he got his license back about 1960. Both of us go way back, and we were talking about some of our first radios we built. And he's an electrical engineer. He teaches engineer, or he taught engineering, and he made all these companies and makes all this equipment. But he built his first radio he built a crystal radio, like in 1960, and he never got it to work. That's the end of that story. Yeah.
That's it.
Well, another thing we did is we contested in the fall and we contested in February.
Oh, how was that? What February? That was Winter Field Day?
The School Club Roundup.
Oh, okay.
We did. We didn't. Mr. Troughton knows the score for the in fall, but we haven't gotten the score in February. I don't think yet.
Okay.
We did. We did a little bit good in the fall, but we did way better in February.
Mm-hmm. Very good. Anything else? I mean, are you guys still contesting? A crystal set's very fun. That's an interesting way to get started with radio, and then doing the Yagis. That's all very cool little projects. I love that.
Oh, let me just mention that there's a VK. Oh, I lost him. A VK2 in the chat room. Where's that? Is that New Zealand?
Australia.
Australia. That's Australian. We got an Australian in here watching you guys. Let's see. Okay. Well, Chris, can you think of any projects coming up or anything you guys want to do?
Well, projects we have coming up tomorrow, we're going to do our first fox hunt during the school year. The fox hunt that we did that Reagan participated in was actually during ARRL Kids Day, the third weekend in June. That was while school was still out for the summer. So we're going to do a fox hunt tomorrow, and then we are going to start trying to work on our presentation table that we plan on putting up, an information table for our local Ham Fest. Our ARRL state representative has chosen to have our Ham Fest for the state of Idaho in one of the schools at our district. So that's exciting, and we're looking forward to participating in that as well.
Well, that's really cool, man. I've never done a fox hunt myself. You guys are doing all kinds of stuff I've never done. I need to get that on my bucket list. All right. Oh, here we go. New Zealand, ZL1 KFM is in here. He's watching you down in New Zealand. That's kind of cool. All right. Well, guys, thank you so much for coming on tonight. I really enjoyed it. We didn't talk much with Mom there. Mom, is there anything you want to say? Are they keeping their homework up and doing good and all that?
Yeah. Trying to hold on to the coattails, and we are just really appreciative to all the local and far away ham radio operators who have influenced and been helpful in getting all of us up and going, but especially really supporting both Stephen and Reagan. And we can't say enough good things about Mr. Troughton, AF7FQ, who absolutely never says no to any need or question we have.
All right.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, hey, it's been a great story tonight. We really thank you guys for coming on. And hey, Reagan, I called you 3 times tonight during the net. Did you ever hear me?
No.
No.
I called you.
Oh, no, I didn't.
I made some long calls and listened for you. I guess the conditions weren't good for Idaho tonight. Well, I'm just going to say good night to you guys. Good night, Stephen and Reagan and Lisa and Chris. And we're going to talk about balloons next. You guys, can watch the rest of the show, or you can stay on here. It doesn't make me any difference. It might be more fun to watch it on the show instead of through Skype there. Thanks so much for coming on. Thank you. And I know Chris has...
They can stay on. I'd love to talk to them.
Well, Chris has somewhere he wants to go. I know he has to leave. And let me say, Bill, but right before we get into the balloon stuff here, Reagan is very, very interested. I didn't show you guys this. Let me show you this. If I can find it. Let's see. I got a QSL card from Reagan, and she says on there, she enjoyed being on the show, and let's see, I can't hardly read it. It's too small here. She said she would also like to be a part of it, the show, and to see the balloon launch. So she's really into our balloon launch here. So,
Well,
Reagan,
stay on, Reagan.
yeah, just keep following us, Reagan, and we'll keep you updated about it. Tune in the show and find out what we're going to do here. I'll say goodnight to you guys, and we're going to bring in Bill Brown now.
Quick question, is Reagan and family going to Hamvention? They can see it launch, right? The balloon launch that you'll have there?
Oh.
Are you guys going up there? There's always a balloon launch up there. I think Bill does one. I think it's on Saturday. Isn't it, Bill, on Saturday y'all do a balloon launch?
Friday or Saturday, depending on weather.
Yeah.
But if you do come out, I'm looking for somebody to launch one of the balloons.
Oh.
Thank you.
All right. You got to volunteer. You got to volunteer there.
Got to volunteer.
So
Where is
well, you
Are
had a
you
question?
planning to come to the Dayton Ham Radio Convention? Hamvention?
Yeah.
She is, obviously.
Yeah.
Well, we'll have to
get
find a way
in
to
touch,
we'll have to find a way to get her there.
And we'll have launch one of the balloons.
All right. Well, good night, guys, and stick around on here if you want to, or you can watch it on the show. You might have a little bit better experience on the show. But then again, if you want to jump in and ask a question, just stay on Skype, you know. So we'll be back with you guys, and Bill will be back with you in just a minute. Okay, everybody, just stand by. We'll be back in just a minute. Create your own band openings. ICOM newest SDR transceiver, the IC9700, is coming soon. This new radio is bringing direct sampling to the UHF VHF weak signal world. The IC9700 is an all-mode transceiver loaded with innovative features such as dedicated amateur satellite operation, color touchscreen, D-Star capability built in, RF direct sampling on 2 meters and 70 centimeter bands. It has a dual independent receiver capable of full duplex operation as well as dual watch and 100 watts max output on 2 meters, 75 watts on 70 centimeters, and 10 watts on 1.2 gigahertz. Visit www.icomamerica.com/amateur for more information on ICOM radios.
Lunch at the Dayton Hamvention.
That'll be fun.
We'd love to have you.
Thank you very much.
And your whole family. You have to be a teenager or under to fly one of these. I want students to fly these. We're going to have a race, a party balloon race with these little tractors on them, and we're going to launch 3 of them. Now, one of my friends, even though he's 44 years old, he was born on a leap day, so he is eligible to launch it because he's 13.
He's only 13 years old. Oh, man.
He's only celebrated 13 birthdays because he was born on February 29th.
All right. Well, let's talk, Bill. Let's bring you in here and let's talk about, our balloon launch, man. We've been wanting to do this now for a month, but I'm telling Bill. Let me adjust this screen a little bit. I'm telling Bill to. Let's don't get trigger happy, and let's try to pick the exact best day to do this, and we're going to engineer it the best. And hey, Bill, on the show we're shooting for 2 years up now. I don't know if that's possible or not.
Well, a few months maybe, and potentially a year. This is your transmitter, by the way.
Okay.
This is the W5KUB Whisper transmitter. And it's ready to go. I've been testing it on the air under my call sign, but it is a simple matter to program it with W5KUB. And this is on 20-meter Whisper. It's totally solar powered, and it has magnet wire antennas and fishing line going up and down, 17 feet 1 inch up, 17 feet 1 inch down, and with a big plastic balloon at the top. And it'll float around 40,000 to 42,000 feet, hopefully above most of the weather, and get a nice ride, potentially around the world multiple times. So these are flexible solar panels. You can touch them, they won't break, which is good because sometimes these crash into the ground when you take them off in a wind. And I have a half farad super cap on the back, and that helps smooth out any drops in solar performance if there's a brief blockage, and it helps with the load on angle.
So Bill,
everything weighs 12 grams, which is less than half an ounce.
Yeah, that was my question. My question was going to be, is that the 12-gram payload right there, all that included?
Right, and then the HF dipole, it weighs 3 grams.
Oh, wow.
With the magnet wire antenna.
Yeah.
So it's 15 grams altogether.
So I had a question about this, and of course I'm just learning, but and I think I asked you something about this last time you were on. But one of the questions was, at that altitude, does it not frost over? Do you get moisture on it? Does that affect it? Because you're just going to fly it like that, right?
That's right. It's, believe it or not, as long as you're up at the flight altitude and you don't go through any moisture on the way up, so a nice clear day is a good day to fly these. you aren't going to see any moisture collect on them. And if there is moisture collecting on them, it's going to come down anyways. So that means you're in a very bad storm. But the conditions are very dry there, and you don't really need any protection on the board. I had one of these laying out in the Mojave Desert for 3 weeks transmitting. I talked about that in the last show. And and it transmitted every day when the sun came up and was received 1,000 miles in either direction. And finally, Mark Fisher, W6MAF, drove out in a Jeep and drove right over the top of it.
So was that one on Whisper, or was it on APRS?
That was on Whisper mode, yeah.
Okay.
Now I have something, I've been doing this for 31 years. This August 15th will have been the 32nd anniversary of my first flight, which was the very first amateur radio high altitude balloon payload in the United States at the time. And I actually have it here. This is the very first payload. You can see it there. Can you see everything on
I
it?
see that. I see the reward there. Yeah. So if this thing is on the ground, I know it's HF is the transmission on a Whisper. It'll still transmit with the wires on the ground. It'll still transmit.
Television. This is amateur television, and a 2-meter FM beacon on this particular one, and it weighs about 2 pounds. It has lithium batteries inside of it, and believe it or not, if I plug this in, it would still operate after 32 years.
Oh, you gotta love that.
And
Nicely engineered then, right? If it can still turn on after all that time, there you
lithium
go.
batteries last forever. So I have a 2-meter transmitter and beacon, and a little video ID board, and cameras underneath, and a transmitter, a TV transmitter, and it all still works 32 years later. Someday I'm gonna donate it to the league for their museum.
Oh yeah, that would be cool.
But right now I take it to shows every once in a while. But that was 32 years ago, and this July is the 50th anniversary of my ham radio license, which is,
congratulations.
curiously enough, the 50th anniversary of another special event that is near and dear to our hearts here in Huntsville, Alabama. Can you guess what that might be?
What was that? Which one?
There's an event on July 22nd here in Huntsville, Alabama, celebrating the 50th anniversary of a special event.
Oh, I don't know, moon landing maybe.
Yes, that's it.
All right, cool,
Ding, ding,
man.
ding.
And I got my ham radio license 2 days before they landed on the moon.
All right,
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
I remember watching that. That was something, man. I was in the Air Force then. So I know we want good weather, and we have had lousy weather here for the last month.
Well, between
To launch.
torrential rain, we've had about 8 inches of
Yeah.
rain in the past week.
Yeah.
A tornado, one of the deadliest tornadoes in many years, came through just south of here, about 150 miles.
Yeah.
So, and high winds. They're not conditions for launching a very fragile lightweight balloon, a payload. So we're just waiting for good weather, clear skies, and calm surface conditions to launch the W5KUB balloon.
So
But I'm hoping that in the next, within the next 2 weeks, we're going to find a nice window to do so.
So do you need a very clear window? I know you will launch from, say, Huntsville, but would you also need it to be clear over like Georgia and North Carolina
During
and that way?
the ascent stage, you need to have good clear skies during the ascent portion of the flight. So we want to make sure that it's not going to go through any clouds and collect moisture on the way up. So it would be, you can do it in partly cloudy skies. We
Uh-huh.
flew in terrible conditions last year at the Dayton Hamvention. It actually it was very windy. There were thunderstorms all around. We had a little break in between the thunderstorms, and we launched the balloon. It hit the Marconi building, the roof of it, slid across the roof,
Oh, yeah.
and then it looked like it finally made it. Well, we ran around the side of the Marconi building at the Dayton Hamvention, and they had a hex beam at the W8BI.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
station,
yeah, yeah. You have to
and we
blame.
ended up right in the top of the hex beam.
Well, we'll
The
have to
snack
blame that.
right in that.
We'll have to blame that on
Algorithm
Emmett,
and
W0QH, and I'll make Emmett take it down next year.
So it took them about 30 minutes. They rotated it. They actually started to lower it, and the balloon and payload fell out of the hex beam and then proceeded to land on a power line.
Oh, man.
Oh no.
You just had bad luck all the way.
And then it sat there for about a minute or two, and finally it got out of the power line. An hour later, it hit a thunderstorm,
Oh geez.
going from 7,000 feet down to about 500 feet, and miraculously it survived and started back up again. A week later, it shows up over Turkey.
Oh, really?
Across
Turkey, huh?
the Atlantic, and spent several days crossing Turkey and the Black Sea.
Well, that's so cool. Now, hey, I had another question. There's a lot of interest from our show here and our Facebook group and even nets I'm on here. The question is kind of like, how fast does it go up? You know, I mean, is it how long would it take you to reach the 40,000 feet? Is that hours or maybe a day, or what do you think?
About 2 to 3 hours. It goes up at about 250 feet per minute. If you go up much faster than that, the balloon will actually pop when it reaches the float altitude. This is not a balloon that stretches. It'll stretch just a tiny bit, but it's made out of plastic or a mylar material. So it actually is a super pressure balloon in that it actually fills the volume, and when the density of everything, including the gas inside, equals the outside air, that's where it floats.
So what balloon what balloon are we talking about actually here?
The plastic balloon made out of sushi wrap,
Okay.
which is a bigger version of what you see there.
Yeah, let me go down. I think you've got one here.
It's down a couple slides. You'll see. See, that's a party balloon. I initially designed it to fly on a party balloon,
Yeah.
which 36-inch mylar, but that's the sushi wrap balloon right there. It's
All
called
right,
the
now-
SBS-13. It's made by Scientific Balloon Solutions and K6RPT and his son Ron and his son Lee. They build these specifically for long duration high altitude balloons. So that's one that actually had a hole in it because of the when they shipped it. I didn't notice that there was a hole in the box. I guess a forklift had gone through the package and it actually cut a hole in the balloon. So I launched it, and it landed a few miles away. So we eventually did recover that one.
So how?
But it's just a big bag of sushi wrap.
So how do you seal that? You just twist it together on the end and tape it up or something?
It's heat sealed around the seams, and I have one of those sealing irons that the RC airplane people use to cover their airplanes.
Okay.
And so I have to seal once I get the lift just right, and we shoot for about somewhere between 5 and 8 grams positive lift. That's above and beyond the weight of everything hanging below the balloon. So if I have 15 grams of antenna, fishing line, tape, you have to weigh everything as accurately as you can, because we're talking sub-gram, gram levels.
This is.
By the way, do you know how many grams are in a nickel?
A nickel. I'm gonna say. I'm gonna say 12 grams. Oh, 5 grams? Is that right?
5 grams.
Okay.
And penny weighs 2.5 grams. So those are good measurements. That
Now,
if you don't have ice
but if
weight.
that penny was made in 1902, it's going to be different.
That's right. That's
Pre-82,
right.
yeah, they're
It'd be
copper.
about pre-1982 penny. It
Yeah.
weighs about 3 grams.
Yeah. Well, look, hey, on this balloon here, this is a sushi wrap here I see, and you can tell us, is that basically filled up for your 5-gram lift right there?
That's right. That particular one had about 8 grams of lift.
Yeah.
So what we do is when we get it lifting just the right amount of weight, which is the weight of the payload and the antenna and the tape, plus the amount of free lift, positive lift we want, then I have a sealing iron and I heat seal the filling. And they give you instructions on precisely how much time it takes to heat seal that. You don't want to overheat it or under seal it, So,
Yeah.
and then I tape it up, take it outside, and let it go.
So at 40,000 feet, this balloon here would be pretty much totally inflated. Is that how it's designed, pretty much?
Yes, it'll be completely inflated, and actually will stretch out a little bit
Okay.
as it during the heat of the day when the solar energy heats the air inside. It will actually give it a little extra pressure and will stretch the material a little bit. And then it'll actually go up a little higher over the course of a day or two as the sun hits it every day. But it still has enough pressure in at night that it will still maintain a super pressure condition and still float at that altitude. So
Yeah. Now, what kind of
I have seen them go as fast as 200 miles per hour ground speed in the thick of the ground jet stream. In fact, one recently hit about 220 miles per hour.
So, what kind of data are we going to get back through Whisper? And tell us a little about that. And I think you're using 2 different Whisper bursts and combining them or something. But will we get back things like temperature or speed or altitude? What will we get there?
You will get your latitude, longitude, your altitude, the solar panel voltage, and temperature, external temperature. And the way I do that is, as you may know, a whisper transmission is simply a call sign, a 4-digit grid square, and a 2-digit number indicating power level. So there's not much information you can embed in that. So what I do is I send a second whisper transmission following the first transmission with my call sign and the 4-digit grid, but I use the power field for a course altitude in 1,000 meter increments. So it's not the real power output it's putting out, it's actual altitude.
Mm-hmm.
Now the second transmission, I begin with a Q or a 0, and that is an invalid call sign on the ITU licensing, and so, but it's legal to do because it's right after it's within the same 10-minute period, and it's right after my transmission with the call sign. So then I embed the solar panel, how many satellites are being tracked, and the temperature, and then the last 2 characters in the 6-digit call sign of the Q, or that begins with a Q and 0. And you may have seen these if you looked at whisper maps. You'll occasionally see some weird call that begins with a Q or a 0. There's 2 flying right now, in fact, that are currently over Algeria, I believe. Tunisia. They're over Tunisia at the moment. And one was launched from Sweden, and one was launched by SA-6BSS. And VE3KCL from Canada launched one, and the Swedish balloon went over Canada, and at that moment, Dave, VE3KCL, launched his balloon. So now they're tracking right next to each other, within a few miles of each other as they travel around the world. And I believe they are either on 30-meter or 20-meter whisper. I think one hops between the 2 frequencies. So if you go to that, I mentioned last time I was on, there's a website that tracks all the amateur radio balloons that are flying, and it's called tracker.habhub, which stands for High Altitude Balloon Hub.org. And that will show you all the balloons that are flying. There's a time field that tells you if it's within 1 hour or a day or 3 days, and you can select your band.
Now, you had mentioned.
Well, actually, no, it just. And that's a good resource to see what balloons are flying.
You
and
had
sometimes
mentioned,
what
I
we
think.
do is during the severe weather like we've had recently in Alabama with all the tornadoes, there's a project called Vortex, and they transmit on 402 to 406 megahertz. And we have a program that decodes that, and then we link that into our call sign and project that onto that tracker.habhub.org and also the APRS.FI map. So you can actually see they launched 15 balloons in one night during the recent spate of severe weather we had. And we track that. So every once in a while you'll see this massive display of balloons flying over Alabama, and that's us tracking that those vortex balloons.
So let me ask you another question. I think you had mentioned that there's a way for the tracking also to show up on the APRS.FI site.
Yeah, if you're flying the Whisper balloon, and I send the two transmissions with the second call sign being the telemetry, I wrote a Python program to grab the data from WhisperNet, and it's wsprnet.org, and you can see a map of all the Whisper stations over a period of time that are currently on the air, including the balloons. And then it has a database where everybody's reports from the free Whisper software get sent to this database. I can grab that information with this Python program that I wrote, and I decode the data from my two transmissions, reformat it to an APRS signal format, and I send it directly to an APRS server. So then a Whisper balloon can show up just like an APRS balloon. So if you see a symbol of a balloon sitting over the middle of the Pacific Ocean or the Atlantic Ocean, far, far away from any VHF ground stations, then you'll know that that is a Whisper balloon that is being converted and sent to APRS. And the SA6 BSS, he's got his own system, and I don't know if his shows up on APRS.FI, but he takes, I think, I'm not sure if he's using Python or Perl script, but he does a similar thing with his balloons that he flies in Dave V3KCL as well. And the upshot of it is you have to have a little program to grab the data from Whisper and put it over to the APRS server. It's not really an APRS transmission, so it goes directly to the APRS website.
What we'll be doing is once we get to the launch, I'll try to get our website page corrected where we got the right links and maybe the embedded maps where we can track this from our page. I did apply and I did get a account with WhisperNet. I don't know if we need that or not, but I registered. I do have an APRS account that I use, but anyway, you're the expert. You guide us through this thing. Someone in the chat room is asking questions again about the transmission over North Korea and the UK and places like that. Talk to us again a little about that. A lot of people may have missed that.
Oh, yeah. At last show, I mentioned that I have a geofencing algorithm in the board that, since it has an onboard GPS, it knows where it is. And so when we're over hostile areas, such as North Korea, it will stop transmitting. And we in fact, just had recently SP9UOB, Thomas from Poland, he sent a balloon that went right across North Korea, and you could see it approaching North Korea, and then it stopped transmitting and showed up on the other side. So you have to do that over certain areas of the world, and so we basically draw a box of latitude, longitude points around each area that we don't want to transmit. We also do that to switch frequencies when I'm flying APRS, because there's several local network frequencies. Different countries use different frequencies for the APRS network. Europe is 144.800. The United States is 144.39. So basically North America is. Although there are a couple places in North America that aren't. There's one in Central America that's 145.01, for example. So you have to draw these little boxes around to switch the frequency when you're flying APRS. And China, Korea, and Japan are all just 20 kilohertz apart. So they are 144.64, 144.66, and 144.62. I don't know why they couldn't coordinate that, since they're all in the same basic region. But I have to change the frequency whenever I'm over each of those three countries to their local APRS network. But we don't have to worry about that in Whisper, because Whisper worldwide uses the same frequency range.
Oh, okay. All right. Hey, Bill, I'm going to open.
Right now we're waiting for good weather. I can launch the APRS version because it's so small. I'm using guitar string for the antenna wires because they're very lightweight. This is what I use. Number 13 gauge Ernie Ball guitar string.
Uh-huh.
Oh, I love that. That's
and
cool.
It's very lightweight. There's the wire. And it solders up pretty well. You have to kind of scrape it up with some sandpaper, but it solders beautifully. And so, extremely lightweight antenna. Everything has to be as lightweight as possible. The little brass tubing that holds the solar panels on, I had to find a specialty shop in Great Britain, Albion Metals, sells this really lightweight. The local hobby shop had brass tubing, but it weighed 3 grams. This stuff weighs 0.8 grams. So I really had to search for extremely lightweight stuff. That also, besides being the support for the solar panels, it actually is the ground return for the solar panels too. So this stuff is actually soldered to one edge of the solar panel. And the solar cells are made by Power Film Solar. They usually have a booth at the Dayton Hamvention, and they're really cool, flexible panels. You can bend them, do all kinds of neat stuff with them. And these are the ones that aren't weatherproof. They don't have a coating on them because I can't afford the weight. But they sell whole sheets of them that are used for portable backpacking and field day and the like. So if you're at the Dayton Hamvention, look for Power Film Solar. If they're there, the marketing manager is a ham. So they've been very, very helpful in supplying solar cells to me for these projects. And they're very lightweight. Each cell weighs about 1.5 grams. And they put out, in full sunlight, these will put out, these two panels will put out about 4.5 volts to 5 volts at 40 milliamps, which is the average.
That's pretty good.
My average current drain is about 35 milliamps
Uh-huh.
at 3.3 volts.
It's pretty good.
And my output power is a whopping 25 milliwatts. You wouldn't think that would get too much, particularly on HF. But the beauty of the whisper mode is it's such a weak signal mode.
Yeah.
You can be 30 dB below the noise level and still be copied. So 25 milliwatts to a magnet wire antenna that weighs 3 grams I've been over the middle of the Atlantic Ocean and had reception reports from the other side of the world in Perth, Australia, on 20 meters. So
Wow.
That's
just with
amazing.
25 milliwatts. If I take this board right now and I stick it on the air with my outside vertical that I have in the front yard, it will be received all over the country and Europe,
That's
just
cool.
with 25 milliwatts.
Hey guys,
And then
I'm opening.
APRS, 2-meter VHF, that's also 25 milliwatts, but when you're flying at an altitude of 30 or 40,000 feet, your line of sight range is 250 to 300 miles. So somebody somewhere is going to have a quiet time to listen for your payload and your packet burst. So I almost never miss a packet burst, even competing against stations that are running 5 watts to 50 watts.
So, Bill, I know you're going to put the return address on there. It is going to come down. I don't anticipate we're going to receive it back. There's an awful lot of ocean out there, A lot of ocean out there.
Yeah, well, there is. And I call this my backup recovery system.
Yeah.
I put my email on every solar panel. And just yesterday, I got a phone call from the airport manager at Collegedale, Tennessee Small Airport, which is in the Chattanooga area.
Yeah.
Last November, AMSAT had their national conference, their annual symposium here in Huntsville at the Space and Rocket Museum. And as part of the festivities for that, I launched one of these on APRS from the parking lot. Unfortunately, I was trying out a new balloon and it failed over Chattanooga. Well, that was November. And then just yesterday, the airport manager at Collegedale, Tennessee Airport called me and said, well, he emailed and he says, we found something of yours underneath of an airplane that was tied down. So apparently, due to the big storms we had recently, it must have been hanging in a tree next to the airport, and it got blown out of the tree and ended up under an airplane. And so one of the groundskeepers found it and brought it into the airport manager, and I'm going to get it back.
Well, that's cool. I've got the phone lines open.
Recovery system.
I'm opening the phone lines up, see if we get any calls here. I know we got some people in New Zealand. I'm putting our phone number in New Zealand. See if they'll call.
I'm looking at your chat room and see if there's any, let's see here. Oh, there we go.
So we got New Zealand out there. Let's see, we had an Australian. Let me put the Australian number out there. Let's see what they
I see Mark.
Yeah, Mark's in here from Huntsville.
Yeah, Mark and 4BCD. This is a pretty neat chat room. We use. Oh, by the way, we use this for the web chat free node. There is a high altitude balloon.
Yeah.
You go to high altitude. Let's see. Trying to remember the name.
I saw that for helping.
Balloon.
Yeah, I saw that.
You can ask questions and talk to people all over the world who are experts in high altitude balloons. I think it's just high altitude.
I
have it on my other computer, just automatically comes up.
Well, I'm
By
surprised.
the UK High Altitude Society folks in Great Britain. They have a very active group there, and we unfortunately they can't use amateur radio for high altitude balloons. So what they do is they fly 434 megahertz license-free transmitters, but they have a very active group. And last September, I had the honor of going to Poland and flying balloons from the hometown of Copernicus in Torun, Poland, and got to meet many of the Polish hams that are into high altitude ballooning. And that was a lot of fun.
We've got a caller. Who's on the phone? Let me turn the phone up. Who's on the phone?
This is Matthew from Maine, KB1 YSN. I'm 21 and I was wondering, can any class of Russian students what is this exchange for how does that work?
You cut out a bit, but he's
Yeah,
asking
that was,
what class of
he was on
license
a-
do you need to be
He came in
if
on.
you're going to launch a balloon like this. And I think general is the basis for Whisper.
For a wish balloon, yes.
He was on a.
But you only need a technician for an APRS balloon.
All right. Yeah, he came in on a cell phone. It was a little noisy there. Started.
Yeah, there's still a bit of hum in the background in your audio there, Tom.
Yeah, I think it's. I think you guys are hearing it. I'm not sure they're hearing it on the show.
Oh, okay.
I've been
As long as everybody else is
troubleshooting
not hearing
that.
it, I can deal with it.
Yeah,
I can
okay.
survive.
Now, I
Who-
might mention that these are called pico balloons.
Yep.
The ones that weigh under an ounce and fly from these small party balloons. But we do very large balloons that are weather balloons that can lift upwards of 12 pounds of payload. So we carry everything from amateur television payloads with live cameras, GoPro cameras to record video from the edge of space, because you get to see a beautiful curve of the Earth, the blackness of space. You basically see the same view that the astronauts see in the space station. You're just at a much lower altitude, but you're still going to be above 99% of the Earth's atmosphere.
Hey, we got
We
someone
use
else.
A lot of school.
Well, let's see who else is on the phone. Who's there?
This is Mike BK2EMK.
VK2. Did you say Mike?
Yeah,
Mike, and what's your call? VK2
EMK.
ENK.
Kilo.
Yeah, thanks for
Kilo,
calling,
all
man.
right.
Yeah,
No worries.
EMK, Echo Mike Kilo.
Yeah.
So how you doing down under there? I guess it must be summertime.
Yes, it's pretty warm today, and we could very much do with a lot of rain.
Oh, he's dying
much of
out
the
on me. Can
country
you
is.
copy him?
Okay, well, we've had enough rain. We could send you some of that rain there, Mike. Well, hey, Mike, you got any? I know I've watched a lot of balloon launches from your area down there too. Are you interested in, or have you taken part in any balloon launches down there?
Yes, I have actually. Some years ago. It's been a little while since I've actually been involved in some balloon launches, but yes, we have been involved, and actually we're using weather balloons rather than.
Can you hear him, Tom? I can't.
Yeah, I'm hearing him okay.
Okay, he starts to fade out on me, but
Yeah.
it's okay if you can hear him. That's fine.
Well, he's saying he
He said
participated.
that
He's participated in some of the balloon launches down in Australia.
Yeah, yeah. Sorry about the audio level, but I'm using a cell phone here, so.
It sounds like I hear some wind noise. Are you outside?
No, it's probably me breathing into the microphone.
Oh, maybe that's what it was there.
Yeah, just so you can hear me. I'll hold it away from the mouth so you
Okay.
don't hear the wind. But
Yeah.
yeah, no, it's pretty warm today down here. 35 degrees Celsius, which I can't do the math quickly enough to work out what that is in Fahrenheit, but it's pretty warm.
Okay, Mike. Well, hey, we appreciate you calling in. You're one of our first callers from VK2 land. So,
Not a worry.
what was that,
Yeah,
Josh?
buddy.
You were going to say something?
I see a lot of amateur radio balloon activity in VK land, and you can once again follow even the balloons from Australia on that tracker.habhub.org site. And it's a great resource to see where the balloons are flying all over the world. But there is a very active group there in Australia.
Sounds good. I'll leave you to it and
Well,
continue to listen.
well, thank you, Mike, for testing our number out in Australia. You're the first caller.
You're welcome.
And I might mention that ZL1BB has been flying balloons around the world and that come around back to Australia. And LU1ESY and AMSAT LU in Argentina under the call sign LU7AA. They've been flying around the world balloons that often go across Australia. So I believe their next one is going to actually fly from Antarctica in the next few weeks.
So,
And that'll be LU7AA.
So, Bill, I guess there is a difference in the way these balloons fly if you launch it from Australia down in that part of the hemisphere versus launching it up here in the United States. I mean, they're going to fly different, aren't they?
Pretty much the same in the jet stream, but the difference is it's now their fall there, late summer, fall.
Yeah.
So they have different weather patterns. The jet stream is not as strong right now as it is here. During the winter months, you can go around the world in less than 2 weeks. You can still go around the world in May or June, but it could take you a month. So there's a difference in the strength of the jet stream and how laminar it is. In other words, it can be really broken up and do a lot of loops. And in fact, during the summer months here in the United States, if I launched a balloon from Alabama, it could end up floating in the jet stream and actually head towards California, as the winds sometimes loop completely backwards in the jet stream during the summer months.
Oh, yeah.
And so you'll have the similar situation in the southern hemisphere. However, due to the fact that there are fewer land masses in the southern hemisphere, they don't quite have the variance that we get in the jet stream looping up and down. It kind of stays in the same general latitude zone in the southern hemisphere.
Yeah. You know, we're not going to have a battery, so there will be times when we're in the dark, there won't be any position information. And I was trying to think, you know, it's not going to be like it's going to be on 12 hours and off 12 hours because the rate this travels, it may turn around and go backwards. The Earth does turn below it. It could stay in the sun 20 hours a day, couldn't it? And still
only if it's summertime in the Arctic Circle.
Oh, really? Okay. Well, yeah, I'm just trying to figure all this out, you know. You've got all this worked out, Bill. I'm thinking, okay, approximately how fast is the Earth spinning right now?
Well, 24,000 miles, and it takes 24 hours.
Yeah, okay. Well, you know, so if you jump up in the air and you come back down, do you come back down in the same place? I mean, I know the what do you call it? The atmosphere is going to kind of take you with it, but you got to make some progress if you jump up and, you know, the Earth's going to turn below you at 24,000 miles an hour, man.
If you send a rocket into space and it comes right back down, yes, it's going to turn underneath of you. But in our case, we're flying with the jet stream, so it actually sees no wind. If you had a streamer on the string and the camera pointed at it, it would be completely calm where the payload is, because it is, even though it's traveling 200 miles an hour ground speed, it is still in that flying in that air mass, and unless there's some turbulence, it's just perfectly calm where it's at, even though it's traveling 200 miles an hour. So we don't get quite that fast of a jet stream as we get into the late spring and summer, but it still can be upwards of 80 to 100 miles an hour. But that's the best time to go around the world is generally from November to the end of April.
So here's
For the
a
fastest.
here's a shot. Here, this is, I think, what did you say this was? At 53,000 feet, and like you say, it looks
Yeah.
like it's just standing vertically there.
Yeah, that is, you can actually see that was a photo taken from another balloon payload at towards my balloon. And we're at 50,000 feet above the Earth. The two balloons were launched at the same time, and they stayed within 200 feet of each other throughout the flight because we had the lift perfectly matched between the two. And this, you can actually see the blackness of space starting to creep in. That blue haze is the Earth's atmosphere, and right above it is the blackness of space. And even at 53,000 feet, you can start to see the blackness of space. If you're flying in a jet airplane, you don't see it so much at 42,000 feet or so, but as you get up to about 50,000 feet and above, you'll really start to see the effect. That's a typical latex balloon carrying several pounds of payloads. That had beacons, APRS transmitters, GoPro cameras, and a TV camera. So we can do quite a lot with, and you have several pounds worth of payloads to lift. Crossband repeaters. If you send a crossband repeater or even a simplex repeater up to 100,000 feet, you have people 400 miles in all directions able to talk through it as a repeater. You can actually get contacts 700 to 800 miles apart using a balloon as a repeater. And that's a great thing to do for emergencies when you have disasters in an area or ice storm that's taken down cell towers. You can do some temporary communications using the balloon as a repeater to an area that has reception capability. So, in an emergency, it's a great tool to set up a wide area repeater. Particularly if you could park it at a certain altitude and let it sit there for hours on end.
Well,
So
it's going on
there's
about
a lot you can
9:30,
do.
so
What's
we'll probably go ahead and start closing this show out here in a few minutes. We're excited, I tell you, and I've been talking to everybody here around locally, and they're really interested in this thing. I'm trying to explain it to them, and I said, look, I'm not the expert. I can just tell you what he's told me, and this is so exciting. There's a lot of science goes into this thing, and a lot of planning and science, and weathermen, and all kinds of stuff.
Forecasting.
Yeah, the forecasting and everything.
Flight prediction.
Yeah,
I
and
wanted to mention before we sign off, they're on Friday from noon to 1:30 at the Dayton Hamvention. We're going to hold the annual Balloon Sat Forum. That'll be in Forum Room 5, which is a tent near the main arenas. And we usually have a full tent full, and we'll be talking about what it takes to track and chase a balloon in a mobile setup. We'll be talking about how to put ATV and touchdown systems to cut down a balloon, and how to build a crossband repeater to fly on a high altitude balloon. And we'll be talking about what we call the small pico balloons efforts. And then right afterwards, if the weather is good, we're going to have a pico balloon race. And we've already got one volunteer signed up to launch it.
yeah,
So
we will
we're gonna
try.
have a race.
If I can get Tommy or somebody to take a camera, we can try to come in and record part of that forum, and then maybe in the next hour or two, or even a little later that day, we can pop that in on our broadcast up there and let people see that.
All right.
And we'll surely
That'd
try
be
to
great.
we'll try to broadcast live the balloon launch if we can. I think you'll be outside of Building 2 there. We're right in the center. And our door,
and
yeah.
if the weather's bad, we'll probably launch it at noon on Saturday. That's our rain date usually.
Okay.
And I also wanted to mention in June, for those of you who would like to visit a beautiful town in Iowa, southeast of Des Moines, called Pella, we're having our annual Great Plains Super Launch, which is a gathering of some of the most experienced balloon groups and those who want to learn. And it is a fabulous place to learn about amateur radio high altitude balloons and what it takes to build payloads and experiments. And it's an all-day conference on Friday, and then Saturday we launch 10 big latex balloons and a number of pico balloons, and we just have a ball. So we're tracing them around the Iowa countryside. So all are welcome to attend. It's called superlaunch.org if you want more information. And if you'd like to ask more information about high-altitude balloons, pico ballooning, or the Skytracker payloads, you can contact me at wbhelk@gmail.com.
All right. Well, they're going to see a lot more of you on the show here. You're going to be our reporter and give us a blow-by-blow account of what's happening with our balloon, you know. And if you come back every week and say, okay, it's still at 82 feet at this position, I'm gonna know it's in a power line somewhere, you know. Hey guys, well look, we're talking about near space and everything like that. Let me mention this again. I just heard my friend astronaut Doug Wheelock that he is going to join us again this year at Dayton as a co-host for our show. He'll be in our booth. We haven't worked out exactly the days, probably Friday and Saturday. But you know, normally and this will be the 6th year Doug has been with us. Normally we don't know until 2 days before Dayton if he's going to make it or not. You know, and we have hotel arrangements and all that stuff. So it was very interesting that he called me today, this early. We're almost 3 months ahead, and said he'll be with us. So he feels pretty confident he will be there. Now, if they come up with another manned moon landing or a trip to Mars, he may have to, bow out. But he's thinking he's going to be with us again. So come by, and he's a big draw for people. He talks to everybody. We have long lines, and everybody asks him the same question, and he'll answer that same question just like it's the first time it's ever been asked. So, very personable guy, and you'll like him. All you guys that have met Doug know how great he really is there. So, if he's there during the balloon launch, Bill, we'll get him to come out and give us some. We'll give him a microphone, and we'll let him do a play-by-play of the balloon launch. That would be kind of cool.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's see. I think we've about covered everything tonight. Of course, Doug was very, very active in making contacts with people. He made thousands and thousands of contacts with people while he was up in the International Space Station. All right, so let's see. Anything else, Josh? You got anything you want to say? Josh. Hey, Josh, we did not get into talking about your microbix. How did that thing turn out, man?
So we talked about it a little bit over the email. I got it set up on a live stream. I did a little pre-work. I soldered some stuff. In fact, let me grab it right here. I've got it open. So here, that's always a sound you like in radio. I've got it all right here. It's all in its little case. I have a new panel coming, so I'm going to put the little touch screen, the big 3-point incher on here. It worked great out of the box, no problems, and then I started messing with it.
Yeah.
You know, that's what we do in ham radio. You mess with things. And so what I have learned is there is a firmware upgrade that a lot of people are using, which is the CEC firmware upgrade. And it's really, really good. I recommend if you get one of these, immediately go and upgrade the firmware, because what it does is it will use a bit of the memory that's not used by the system, and it'll store your defaults on there. What I did is I started the thing up and I started tuning around, and I noticed, hey, this is a little bit off frequency. The timing, the master time frequency counter was off a little bit. So I started doing a calibration on the radio. I later found out that the proper calibration function, trying to tune that crystal with that Radduino that's on there, you need to take a little bit more time, and your best bet is to connect it to your computer and use the memory manager software that goes with that CEC firmware that you can upgrade. So make sure you do the CEC upgrade and get the memory manager software, because then you can go in there. It's kind of like doing a hex dump. You do a hex dump and you decode the hexadecimal off of the radio, and you can see all the settings, and you can do a lot of good stuff with that. What happened to me is, because I mucked around a little bit with the calibration beforehand, I seem to have gotten myself into a little bit of trouble. I transmit perfectly. The receive side's a little bit difficult, so I'm working on that now. But it's still a great radio. For $130, it's hard to beat for what you can get, for sure. I do have the version 5. I did get that from Ashar. Yeah, I think so. I have always said QRP is not necessarily the right place to start when you go get your general or you get into ham radio. But for this one, if you're a guy or a gal who likes to tinker around with stuff and enjoys getting into the meat of maybe doing a little bit of programming and stuff like that, this is a tinkerer's dream. There are so many things you can do with this radio out of the box, and it's not very expensive. If you want to go to that touchscreen like I'm going to do here shortly in the future, you can do that. And so it's a very, very cool radio. Yeah.
Well, you'll get it. You'll get it all worked out, I'm sure.
Oh, of course. If not, I'll keep banging my head against the wall until it happens, right?
Oh, yeah, you'll get it, dear. All right. Well, hey, guys, we're going to go ahead and end the show. We went just a little late tonight. That's okay. And, Bill, keep us posted when you think we're going to launch. Try to get a video. We'll get that on here, and we'll kick off our 36-month series of tracking our balloon.
Oh, yeah, that's going to be great.
Yeah. I'm just thinking we could track it for that long. If let's say it goes 12 months, and then it hangs up in a high tension line somewhere. I mean, hey, it's still up. It's still transmitting, right?
That's right.
Yeah. We might set a world's record here. Okay, guys, good night. Thanks for being on the show, Bill and Josh, and we'll see you. See you guys later. Okay, hey, everybody out there, remember, join our Facebook group, W5KUB. Hey, join Hashnasi. Yeah, join his, what's your Facebook group? How do you get there?
Ham Radio Crash Course.
Oh, yeah, okay. Ham Radio Crash Course, and you got to type that out. You can't put HRCC in, can you?
You can try. I actually haven't done that.
Hey, when I put in HRCC before, it comes up with all kinds of stuff. Huntsville Realty and something company, and I mean, there's all kinds of stuff out there. So Ham Radio Crash Course, that's the best place. Check out his YouTube channel. Hashnazi, and check out our YouTube channel. Subscribe to both of them. Join our Facebook group at W5KUB. We got about 5,000 people in that Facebook group. It's growing great. And if you got ideas about shows, shoot us an email. Put your shack pictures in our Facebook group, and we'll show them. Say 73, and good night to everybody. And we had a great time tonight.
Take it easy, everybody.
So you're saying I can ask this cat any questions?
The cat is connected to the computer. You just type in the question, it will read his mind. There the answer comes.
You're the man! I've been looking for this for weeks.
All right, everybody. We'll